Great to have you with us at Zhangjiakou. The next event is the women's long distance for the sitting athletes. And it's simply a beautiful day in the mountains north of Beijing. An elite field of just 9 competitors will take the start line, and we have the gold and bronze medalists from Pyeongchang looking for further glory 4 years on. There'll be strong support for the local competitors, as you can see. China, Canada, Norway, Brazil and the United States are represented. An interval start for the women's long distance sitting. 30 seconds apart, 5 laps of 3 kilometres, so 15 Ks in all, and that's 25% longer than 2018, so a significant adjustment to race distance. Some really interesting background stories with our starters in this one, but the real focus will be the competition, of course, and can anyone edge out the American duo from 2018?
Gretsch and Masters going out of the start gate. The last here, the American big favourites for the race. That's Aline dos Santos Rocha. There's great Brazilian representation in the cross-country skiing as South America look to break new ground in the mountains. Temperatures slowly rising the closer we get towards midday. 11:47 a.m. local time in the mountains here at the Zhangjiakou National Biathlon Centre. So this is the sitting category for our para-Nordic athletes. Day one of the cross-country programme. And it's the women racing over 15 kilometres, the long-distance event. So a pair of Norwegians, the 2 Americans, a Brazilian, a Canadian, and 3 Chinese athletes in this race. And very interesting to see Skarstein of Norway, Gretsch and Masters, who have excelled at the summer Paralympic Games as well.
Yes, it's no longer an unusual transition, or certainly still a significant achievement, though, to succeed summer and winter. But so many of the Paralympic athletes just love doing it, mixing it up, finding ways to challenge themselves, and few do it better than Oksana Masters, already a gold medalist in biathlon here, and Kendall Gretsch, a teammate, has got the bronze. But Skarstein, a long and successful career, and well recognised at home in Norway with some significant awards back home.
Yeah, absolutely. Dancing with the stars as well. Ranks highly on her list of achievements, but bringing form from the Summer Paralympic Games, a champion para-rower here to the snow, Skarstein of Norway. So she'll wear bib 36, then it'll be Aline dos Santos Rocha, the 31-year-old Brazilian there. So after 4 Brazilian men went in the sitting event, the first race in para cross country here at Beijing 2022. It'll be Aline dos Santos Rocha, the sole Brazilian, in the women's sitting event. But we look forward again to big performances again from the host athletes, Yang Hongxiong, Li Panpan and Ma Jing. They have young para-Nordic athletes to whom they look to bring home the glory in this event. But 3 30-somethings for the Chinese in this race, with Lynn Marie Bilodeau representing Canada as well. At 20, she'll be the youngest in this race, going off second.
Yeah, by some 9 years. Slightly unusual conditions today. Very low humidity of 22%. And it's as warm as it has been. Temperatures sitting right on 0. And Oksana Masters just getting some late adjustments there, but we're very close to a start now.
So, first to go then in this women's sitting long distance event. This is Yang Hongxiong, 32 years of age, from the host nation, the first of 3 Chinese out of the start gate, and coming hot on the heels of a gold and silver medal performance from the host nation in the men's long-distance sitting race. So what can the Chinese women do?
Lynn-Marie Bilodeau, that French-sounding name. It won't come as a surprise to you to know that she's from Sherbrooke in Quebec, in Canada. Her mother has served as an alpine coach in Canada, and she's competed in para-triathlon at the international level, and on her way. Baby in the field at 20.
Third to go, Li Pan, the national level para archer for China. And she's transferred the skill set here to long distance para cross country skiing. LW 10.5 classification. So her factored time at 87%.
And now Ma Jing set to go. And the bib number matches her age. She's 34, from Junzhou. Studied physical education, and again one of these athletes who's performed at Summer Paralympics. She was in athletics in Rio 2016 on the track in the 400, 1500 and 5,000 meters and marathon.
A 35-year-old Indira Liseth from Norway. Colombian born, but now based out of Bergen, naturalised Norwegian. Her first taste of the top-level international arena, the recent world champs in a home nation in Lillehammer just 8 weeks ago, where she was 11th in this long-distance event.
Skarstein, well, we've talked already about this prominent Paralympic athlete. She's had top 10s in Pyeongchang, 7th and 2/8, and at the World Championship she's had a second in the long distance event 2017 in Finnistrau in Germany, so can get it done at the very top level.
First female Brazilian athlete to compete at the Paralympic Winter Games in 2018 in Pyeongchang. Aline dos Santos Rocha, she's here again. 15th in the long-distance event up in the mountains in Alpenzia 4 years ago. The best performance was in the 5K, where she finished 12th, just outside the medals at the recent World Champs. Aline Rocha, she was 4th.
And away goes Kendall Gretsch. 4 years ago, Pyeongchang, a gold medal in the long distance event, albeit slightly shorter than today's distance. Already a bronze medalist here in biathlon. Looking for something of a different colour perhaps today.
Yeah, and a bronze medalist behind her great friend and indeed rival, Oksana Masters. Said she was shocked and delighted to cross the finish line and capture Team USA's first gold at these Paralympics in the para-biathlon 24 hours ago. I tell you what, no one else was particularly shocked. That win earned Masters her 11th career Paralympic medal and 5th Paralympic gold. Formidable athletes, Masters and Gretsch, and it's often a battle between the two competitors themselves. Gretsch says that Masters is her idol, and here she is up against her, and perhaps favourite in the cross country, without, of course, the need to get into the prone position, into a shooting range to better her rival as well.
So we've got a range of classifications here from LW10 through to LW12, and those numbers reflect the amount of trunk function and level of disability, and their times are adjusted accordingly. Two LW12s, or virtually unhindered trunk function, Bilodeau and Masters. It's a long journey today. It's interesting that the distance has been extended for this race. A real test for them. And the snow, as we've mentioned throughout competition, because it's artificial, it is quite slow. So that just adds to the challenge and to the stamina sapping conditions. The humidity, unbelievably low, 22%. This is testing right-hander. They'll be fully focused on keeping a balance around that one. It's a fast one.
Yeah, the second race, this, on the opening day of the Para Cross Country at the Beijing Winter Paralympic Games, the 15th edition of the Winter Paras. Cross-country skiing, a real mainstay event. It's on the programme since 1976. Originated in Scandinavia, cross-country skiing, and para cross-country skiing, and Skarstein brings that sort of local pedigree, really, as well as Indira Liseth, a Norwegian competitor alongside, but wearing 36, Skarstein at 33. She was absolutely fantastic at the Tokyo Summer Paras last year. Just gets out of the boat, gets onto the ski sled and starts concentrating on an entirely different event. She's actually unbeaten in, what, 4 years in the para rowing in the single sculls. Skarstein, she's not someone who likes to lose, or is indeed used to losing. But we're racing with bib number 37, Aline dos Santos Rocha, a trailblazer for the Brazilian squad when she was able to compete in Pyeongchang, 15th in this event, the long distance event.
Here's Gretsch making her way and quickly being caught by Masters. Just to remind you that they are different classifications. So Masters will, before long, ease past Gretsch, and that's not necessarily a problem for Gretsch, as her time will be adjusted favourably in comparison to Masters. It's just what the margin is. So if you're watching an interval start race for the first time from the Winter Paralympic Games, it's not who crosses the line first, it's who gets the quickest time, or the least amount of time, if you like, after it's been factored.
Well, the Chinese para-Nordic athletes here on their home snow, their home facility at Zhangjiakou, have been absolutely magnificent so far, and they created some real stories. Yang, Li and Ma going off in this women's sitting long distance event. I just wonder if they can create another shock amongst them.
Well, the tactic seems to be go out hard early and then just keep going hard. They ski themselves to absolute exhaustion, the Chinese competitors.
That's Yang at 86% factored time because of individual sport classification, 6:46.0 at the 2.5 kilometre mark.
Got a nice bouncy rhythm going if she can maintain that enthusiasm and energy, and she's in for a good day. Each of these laps 3 kilometres or thereabouts, just short of that, 2,856 metres. Got the tape on the face. Often that's for to keep them warm, but I don't think cold will be a factor today, really. So coming into the finish line area for the first of 5 times. And the crowd giving plenty of enthusiastic support too for Yang. That familiar Chinese chant of Jai-O. Hear it at sporting contests a lot. It literally means more oil. Just pour it on, make it hotter.
Certainly the home support would have helped the golden silver medalist in the men's sitting race, which was the first of the day here. And then Lee, not far down. In second place, the 30-year-old Lee Pan Pan, a former para archer for China, just chasing that bullseye of a medal here in the cross country.
It looks like it's being organised as well. They've got cheerleaders, the volunteers, getting the locals motivated, and it's just nice to have any sort of a crowd. I'm so pleased they've managed to organise selected spectators, if you like. They've been cleared to attend and make a bit of an atmosphere for these athletes. They certainly appreciate that their efforts are being recognised.
Yeah, this is the 20-year anniversary, if you will, of the Chinese Para-Nordic squad. First got a team together for the Park City events, Salt Lake City, and those Winter Paras 20 years ago, 2002. But there's been a rapid development and transformation, really, in terms of the aims and the competitive spirit and the conditioning of these athletes from the host nation. There's been 7 medals so far in the Para-Nordic events, 5 on day 1 in the para-biathlon for China, including 2 golds, and that gold earlier in the men's sitting race here in the cross-country.
As the athletes come through the start-finish area here, there's Bilodeau coming through. It's a little hairstyle that makes it easily identifiable. They can just look over their left shoulder to the big screen for an indication of their time and their position relative to the others. Just a field of 9, but quite an international one and a high-quality one. And here's Masters. Just have to question whether this distance might be just too much for her.
Yeah, that is an issue, and that different variable as well with the shooting in the biathlon, which is a multi-skill set that she seems to have developed. But certainly no problem in that first para-biathlon event. Indeed, that was the sprint event, though, wasn't it? Just pertaining to that point about the endurance factor, which is increased over this longer distance race.
What we do sometimes find in elite competition, that where athletes are involved in more than one event and their event after winning is close to the one that they have had this emotional high from, there's a lot of energy drains out of the body just with that experience of taking a victory. And as you've explained, it was slightly unexpected, or it seemed to be so for Masters, even if many others thought she could do it. Her reaction after that race in the biathlon was clearly one of sheer joy and surprise. She kept looking at the screen and said, "Really?" And some other words that probably don't bear repeating, but the reaction was clearly one of delighted surprise. And that's just a very short time ago.
Yeah, there's that tuck on the downward, and this occasionally problematic right-handed corner, but slips out of the tram lines for clear as snow, and no problem there for Oksana Masters. Yet to race with Kendall Gretsch, a great friend, teammate, rival, 40 seconds down at present, 40.8. Kendall Gretsch. But we're still riding here with Oksana Masters, Ukrainian-born, but now a naturalised United States competitor.
Well, through the 3-kilometre checkpoint, the 3 Chinese competitors were sitting 1, 2 and 4. Masters third. And just reminding you that coming into these games of Beijing, The only medal China had won at Paralympic Winter Games was the curling gold of 4 years ago. So this new group of facilities north of Beijing and a real talent search, put those two together, and the results are coming very quickly.
So 3 kilometre race distance, and the time is 11:32 for Yang Hongxiong. Masters on the right of your picture there. 14 seconds down at present here. Oksana Masters. Nice move.
So perhaps a slightly unfamiliar distance for Masters and for several of these competitors probably. And then have to factor in, well, how much do I spend at what point of the race? Recalculating your own energy levels and stamina and resources for a new distance. Gretsch significantly off the pace at this stage.
Yeah, first opportunity to race with Kendall Gretsch, a para triathlon, the gold medalist in the summer paras last year in Tokyo. We're looking at some very impressive athletes here, Masters and Skarstein and Kendall Gretsch, who comes into this event as the defending champion from Pyeongchang 4 years ago. She has excelled over the longer distances, really. In third place behind Masters and the opening day of the para biathlon in the sprint event.
Lizette coming through. It says for a long time she was at odds with a disability, not a happy person until she got some help that let her refocus. Yang now. Good rhythm, good steady push. A little flick of the wrist at the end of each push, characteristic of her style.
Yeah, she's come through the 5K, so that's a third of the race run for Yang Hongxiong. And we expect Masters and Gretsch to eat into the calculated time. Skarstein down the order at the moment, 17 seconds down. But this is Yang Hongxiong still leading the way from Li Panpan. Just a reminder that the Chinese, the para-Nordic athletes have been training intensively, and so far it's been reaping dividends.
Well, familiarity with this altitude is also really important, to be able to train at what is a height above sea level that's not particularly familiar to a lot of the athletes. It's around 1,500 meters instead of 800 or 900, where a lot of World Cup events are held. Air is thinner, and we've heard from the athletes that it really does affect their performance, oxygen levels, unless you've trained at it. It's tough.
Chinese Paralympic cross-country and biathlon team, 33 strong. And they've been away at the training facility, 55 days of intensive training to get them conditioned and race and match fit. And you can certainly tell on the evidence of the opening day and a bit of the Para-Nordic events here at the Beijing 2022 Winter Paralympic Games. The 15th edition, by the way, of the Winter Paralympics. Event that began in 1976. Cross-country skiing has been on the roster since the year dot, and always brings out fantastic sporting performances. And the endurance and stamina and real power and fighting spirit of these athletes, always a joy to behold.
So
Masters then.
4 years ago, her time in coming third over 12 Ks, 39 minutes and a little bit of change. The winner, of course, Kendall Gretsch, 38.15. And splitting the two Americans in Pyeongchang was the great German cross-country skier, Andrea Eskau, 38.48. Andrea not here in 2022. But tacking on another 3 kilometres to that journey.
And you can really hear the decibel level lift when the Chinese skiers come down the home straight. This is Li Pan, the 30-year-old, so 16.57 for the leading time. Li comes in nearly 40 seconds down at the 6 kilometre mark, 37.3. And Oksana Masters well down as well. 27 is the gap between Masters and Yang. So provisional second at present, Oksana Masters, splitting Yang Hongshong and Li Pan, with Kendall Gretsch yet to come through. And Skarstein as well.
Maybe the wind just picking up a little, looking at the national flags around the start-finish area. There's that big screen we're talking about that the athletes can catch a glance of as they make their way past the grandstand. See in the background there's some support staff carrying spare stocks. Can happen, a fall can end with a twisted, broken, bent stock. As Masters making their way back into the tracks to perhaps make a passing move. By rights, should be the quickest in the field over shorter distances.
Yeah, Masters then coming past Li Pan.
Li Pan does the right thing, kept a racing line until Masters got past her.
And the top for the speed leading into the corner. Nicely taken, fully in control there. Oksana Masters.
Lee doing a good job also. Did see a tumble in an earlier race, but was quickly set right. Skarstein coming through with the Norwegian colours proudly displayed on sit ski.
Yeah, LW11 athlete is her classification for the cross country. PR1, the sporting classification in her para rowing career. And an absolutely magnificent run of success that she took into those Tokyo Summer Paras last year, and absolutely blew the rest of the competition out of the water. 32, that's Lynn Marie Bilodeau, by some distance the youngest in this race, from Sherbrooke in Quebec.
They made a decision to change from standing classification to sitting. The coach suggested that she try it. She hadn't been considering it, even though she'd had some ankle issues with strength. But the coach pointed out that she was a very good double pusher. So, well, let's give this a try, and hasn't looked back really. His Masters. Half a minute down on Yang though. There's a pattern emerging here.
Yep. Needs to make up some time, no question. Oksana Masters. So gold in the sitting sprint category 4 years ago. Women's 5K too. She was a gold medalist, a silver in the long distance event 8 years ago in Sochi. And bronze behind Kendall Gretsch in Pyeongchang. So it's a long and distinguished career in the para-biathlon events at the World Champs and the Paralympic Games for Oksana Masters.
I think you can read something possibly into the ages of the competitors here, and most of them in their early 30s. You need to have the miles, the kilometres under the skis and through the shoulders to build up the kind of endurance required to be a contender here. Gretsch working harder. This is one of those little technical questions asked of you around this course. The turns often come with a change in inclination. Tucking in tight. There's an opportunity to get some oxygen into the lungs. Keep an aerodynamic position.
So the 6K mark then, we take our readings from that. Kendall Gretsch out of the medal positions at present, and Masters in the shade of Yang Hongxiong, who is our race leader still, with Li Pan in provisional 3rd place. Still a good portion of this race to run, but Oksana Masters needs to find some extra power and eat into the gap.
I think, you know, we're around half race distance that we can take a breath and look at where things sit and realise, as you say, that Masters wedged between the two Chinese competitors, Yang and Li. Kendall Gretsch back in 4th, and perhaps half a minute down Masters. That's a lot of time to pick up.
Masters, look at that low tuck, just increasing the aerodynamics there, the minimal wind resistance, picking up speed on the downhill.
And there, as much as anywhere, you hope that your wax technician team have done the right job in terms of picking the combination for the day and its conditions. Arms behind. Reminiscent of a ski jumper. Li Pan perfectly in position.
So 3rd place at present, Li Pan. There have been a pair of bronze medals in the biathlon on the first day of the Para-Nordic events here at these Winter Paras. So the women's standing for Zhao, and the men's sitting event in the sprint, the 6K race for Liu Mengtao. Can Li Pan hold a podium place here? Kendall Gretsch is behind her, so breathing down her neck in terms of the calculated time. 31 though is our race leader Yang Hongxiong of the host nation China.
Really, you don't have to look at the hand action to recognise who it is. It's quite distinctive, and it's an efficient one as well. There's this nasty little rise before coming into the home straight. Just ask one more question of the athletes as they make their way through. Surprised she's got the face tape on today. Seen it certainly in much colder conditions across both games. But she might be someone who just feels the cold a bit more.
No, feels the cold a bit more and hears the crowd a bit more. So the noise lifts from the Chinese supporters in the stand. Just had a shot away to the left there, part of the stadium facility here, and the grandstand above the finish line at the Zhangjiakou National Biathlon Centre, with the ski jumping hills just behind, high up in the mountains here.
Couple more laps to go then for Yang. No loss of form. What about Masters? The last 3Ks, she'll really feel it.
Yeah, so 25.36, and at 9 kilometres, the leading time. And she's down a bit, isn't she? She's lost a bit of time over the last 3 kilometres. Oksana Masters still holding on to second place at present.
So the previous checkpoint she was 33 seconds down and then 40. So those seconds aren't easily regathered. Looking very good at the moment for Young.
Yeah, and Li Pan Pan was just 0.5 down on Oksana Masters at the last checkpoint. So multiple medals are on the cards again here for the host nation China in the women's long distance sitting category here at the Beijing Winter Paralympics. So Masters really needs to dig deep here. And Kendall Gretsch remains out of the medal positions. She had 5 seconds to make up on Li Pan Pan.
Really what's required at this level, every push has to be technically correct. Settle down into this tuck position, get a bit more oxygen in, then pushing once more. Just ensuring that the tip of the stock isn't dug into the ski or into the wrong place. The maximum result for the push. Well in control on that descending right-hander. A few words from the coach off to the side. Under the bridge.
Took up Nordic skiing in Breckenridge, Colorado back in 2013, Oksana Masters. And you look at the other sports she's been competitive in, and ended up medaling in rowing, road cycling, cross-country skiing and biathlon here. But Yang, still our race leader.
Once the disappearing snow is quickly becoming a story of these games, they're able to keep the actual competition surface in good condition. But these incredibly warm conditions we've had the last few days especially have had an impact and even changed the schedule for a couple of events. I'm thinking Alpine, as Masters comes through 40.9 seconds down, so she's holding that margin for the moment. She's got to send it the other way though if she wants to change the outcome. Yang is doing a fantastic job out front. And they're running out of kilometres to make a change.
Well, this is where Masters looks really to eat into that deficit up to Yang Hongxiong, and it's still Li from Gretsch in the search for that last spot on the podium. Then Ma Jing, Birgit Skarstein, Indira Lisset, Lynn-Marie Bilodeau and Aline dos Santos Rocha bringing up the rear for the Brazilian squad. Does Masters have the power, and does she have the lift as well in what's required over the last 5K of this race?
It's trying to keep in the middle of that central area to make sure that the stock doesn't get placed in one of the tracks and not give you an even push. Ma Jing, 27:47 through 9 Ks. 1, 3 and 5. Perhaps China or Masters and Gretsch. Gretsch might have just eased ahead of Li Pan for a second, but it's going to change a bit more before we get to the end of this race, which is 15 Ks. And young Hongsheng has gone through 10. 12, I beg your pardon, 12 Ks. 15. It's 12 4 years ago. I'll get it right eventually. 15. 5 laps of the 3 kilometres.
Yeah, race a lap less than the men in the equivalent long distance race. It's still a colossal effort. Of course, if it doesn't happen today, there's the other events in para cross country deeper into the programme here at Beijing 2022. The sprint and the middle distance. So now Kendall Gretsch, the 29-year-old, fresh off gold medal performances just a few short months ago, really, at the Paralympic Games Tokyo 2020. Gretsch in the para triathlon, masters with those two in road cycling.
Looks to have lost none of her energy or rhythm. It's a good pace she's setting. It might be just making a little bit of a move here, Kendall Gretsch, as one of the coaches gives her a bit more of the picture, says how she's travelling.
Yeah, so she's out of the medals at present, is the champion from Pyeongchang, Kendall Gretsch. Still holding on to 4th place with Ma Jing thereafter in 5th, 226.4 behind our race leader, which remains Yang Hongsheng. Well, Masters really eating into the time, you know, and showing a class, determined to sort of bring it in the long distance as well.
I wasn't particularly keen to mention that in this situation, chasing and you're a significant margin down, you hope for, just to yourself, that your opponent might just run out of gas, sort of hit some kind of a wall. Well, Masters has taken a couple of seconds out of that margin. Is it enough?
32:28.5 is the time at 11.6 kilometres for Yang Hongsheng. So yeah, Masters running out of road, really. So 40.4 down at the 9K mark. Indeed, the deficit has come down, but not by a particularly significant margin, in fairness. So it's still Yang from Masters, and then Li Pan with Kendall Gretsch in 4th place, Ma Jing, and Birgit Starstein. Rocha has picked up a bit. Lisette and Bilodeau.
Masters coming up towards 3 kilometres to go. And the crowd getting a little bit excited about their chances here. So Masters 35 even, coming through 12 Ks. Now what will Yang's time be? She's at 34. It'll be about 35 seconds, but if it's closer to 40, and Yang is still looking good.
Yeah, this lead that she has, pretty much a rolling advantage of the 40 seconds. Yang over Oksana Masters, she's extended it, and it's not looking good now for Oksana Masters for another gold medal. It is still Yang Hongsheng of China.
Well, if Masters made a bit of a surge, Yang has responded in great fashion. It's really on her skis now. Masters will give it everything. She is more familiar with success over shorter distances, but was more than willing to have a crack at this 15Ks and see what she could get out of it. Well, she might still get a medal, but Yang is the one who looks like she won't be denied. A 32-year-old came in with really not too much known about her, except part of that squad that was so intensely trained in the last couple of months. Looking to make a statement, China, about their future in Paralympic winter sport. Reminding you, just the one medal before these games. But now they've stepped up to the plate in biathlon and cross country.
Absolutely. And after two of the Chinese men got on the podium in this equivalent men's race, it's looking like the same outcome for the Chinese women in the sitting category over the long distance here. The longest that para cross country skiers will undertake this race in these games. It's day one of the para cross country skiing at Beijing 2022. And Yang Hongxiong there, the 32-year-old, still leads from Oksana Masters, looking very, very good now for the host nation.
This is an exhausting sport on the shoulders. You know, unlike standing cross-country skiers, every push is a double push. And the crowd is well aware of the situation here. Maybe it'll be Yang's day and another goal for China. That's what they're hoping for.
So 1:45 then between first and third at present. Yang, Masters and Lee. Pretty much looking like a wire-to-wire affair really for Yang Hongxiong, who has got out early and maintained the advantage throughout the, 12 and a bit kilometres of this race.
Ma Jing still holding her form. Just out of a medal position at the moment.
Yep, fifth for Ma Jing. That's how things remain, with Gretsch in fourth place. Well, that advantage that Yang has fluctuating between, sort of 38 and 41 seconds, but still well in control here ahead of Oksana Masters. Even though it's really beginning to burn. But she can play her part in this magnificent Chinese success story. And we're only on the second day of the Para-Nordic events at their games up in the hills of Zhangjiakou.
So Yang out of Yunnan province. Oksana Masters, of course, born in Ukraine, representing the United States. So it was a very emotional victory for Masters as we watch that familiar crouch now in her opening biathlon event. Well, she said she was surprised, but also, I'm sure, charged with emotions, and a range of them. Right now, trying to charge towards another medal. Maybe it'll be silver. Kendall Gretsch, defending champion from 4 years ago. Just out of it at the moment.
Yeah, so round about 40 seconds, Yang from Masters, and it's not dissimilar gap between Lee and Kendall Gretsch.
Very efficient around the turns, Masters. Here is Gretsch.
So 2:38 down. Well, she's moved up onto the podium as Kendall Gretsch. Looking decent now. The Masters and Gretsch, who both got medals in their first event on day one in the para-biathlon.
Just looks to be doing it a little tougher at the moment, does Masters. In his last kilometres, he thought it might ask a few questions of her. This downhill section will be appreciated. See if she can gather some speed and a few breaths. Tackle the next uphill section. What's left?
Well, Lee overall still holding from Kendall Gretsch. 32, you're looking at Bilodeau there. And Masters.
Yeah, that most recent margin still holding around 38 to 40 seconds. So Lee is doing a fantastic job. Sorry, Yang just holding on to that margin, holding on to that lead and eyeing a gold medal.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is looking good now for Yang Hongxiong. But Masters looking good for another medal here. Gold for the United States in the sprint in the para-biathlon on day one of this para-Nordic competition at Beijing 2022. Masters over the line first, but it's looking like the silver.
43:38.8 is the time for Masters and the time to be beaten. If she's to be denied, she's a quick smile. I think she knows that it won't be the same joy as came in the biathlon, but she has given it everything, as she always does, as all these athletes do. Now Yang still out on the course, just focusing, making sure nothing untoward happens in these last few hundred metres, but that margin down to 28 seconds, that's interesting.
Yep, absolutely. Yang tiring. The Masters really had the power towards the end.
There's that strong push coming back into the arms of Yang. Certainly appreciate this little run. Try and finish it off in style.
Has she got it? So 43:38.8 is the time to beat.
So she's got a minute and a half to get home.
And it won't be long before she can hear the roar and the home support just bringing her in.
Looks to be finding what's required here. It should be enough. Well, the push just shortening a little. This is a nasty little climb, as we've mentioned, coming up to the home straight. Not much run to be had. She crests the rise and she'll get a big welcome. Can she bring it home?
Yep. One last push is what's needed here for Yang Hongxiong. Masters absolutely chasing her time down over that last kilometre. 43:38.8 is the time to beat. So 40 seconds now to do it, and she has done it with plenty to spare. The lead did come down, but Yang Hongxiong with another gold for China.
Oh, she might have had some moments of self-doubt in that last lap. She was clearly hurting, and a courageous finish from Yang to eclipse the time of Oksana Masters. And she should have done enough. Let's see where the next challenge is going to come from. Big wave to the crowd.
So, trying to bring it. Li Panpan also for China. And Kendall Gretsch as well. So Li 2:034 down on Yang's leading time, still has the edge on Kendall Gretsch, and it was the same sort of lead Li enjoyed over the Gretsch that Yang had on Oksana Masters. We saw Yang fading a bit towards the end, but she built up enough of a lead to bring home the bacon for the Chinese. And Li from Gretsch looking to do much the same in that battle for the last spot on the podium.
Gretsch still pushing strongly and smoothly and coming down to the line. Over 3 minutes outside the time of Yang. It's a super time indeed.
So 46.26.2 is the mark for Kendall Gretsch.
Well, she doesn't give us too much of a reaction there. Slight disappointment, perhaps.
And again, it's hurting now for Li Panpan. But 46.26 is the target to push Gretsch off the podium and make it China 1 and 3.
She's clearly got enough time on her side to achieve that.
Yeah, there's the noise of the crowd.
It's a lifter, isn't it? They come into this straight after that last rise and they can find something. And she'll find herself in third place when she finishes.
And another brilliant race for China. Gold and silver in the men's long distance, gold and bronze in the women's. Fabulous again from the host nation. Yang and Li have done it again for China.
Oh, you can hear the distress as a result of the effort. They give all they have. Sometimes it feels they give more than they've got. Not such a thing is possible, but I'm sure you know what we mean. They push themselves to the absolute limit. They think they can't go on, they just somehow do.
Yeah.
Body's screaming at you to stop. The brain says, no, you have to keep going.
So next to come through will be Ma Jing. Three of the top five for Canada, for China, I beg your pardon. So Yang, Masters, Li, Gretsch, and here Ma Jing, and she'll hear the roar too. That'll give her an extra few meters over the final stages of this race, and it has been a hard fought, a long distance race for these para cross country skiers.
I don't think she can tip out Gretsch as the finish line a bit too far away. But a 1, 3, and 5 here for China out of their 3 competitors. And again, she finds something extra, settles into the tracks for the last push to the line. And Ma a good race. Come in 43.9.
So, our first 5 finishers still have Scarstein, Aline Rocha, Indira Lisset and Lynn-Marie Bilodeau to come home. Our next finisher, that's Birgit Skarstein, 49.239, 6 minutes 17 after the race-winning time of Yang Hongxiong.
What a great smile. It's great to see.
Fantastic.
So pleased to just be here and compete well.
Yeah, brilliant to finish. And Birgit Skarstein with a smile to light up these games.
So the athletes who finished top of the heap, getting prepared for our little recognition ceremony. And Yang Hongqiang, too good today. Well, the question, why do you need that tape on your face? It's not that cold. Well, maybe it's lucky tape. And lucky enough for the win. Not too much luck about it. This was all endurance and skill. Yang was first away in this field of 9. And has the best time. The tape's coming off. It'll look better in the photos. It's done its job.
Bilodeau of Canada. So a few more athletes yet to finish. I think they might be waiting until all athletes have crossed the finish line for the recognition ceremonies, unlike in the men's race, which was quite something a little earlier.
Yes, there's nearly a chaotic moment with the winners gathering for the recognition, and an athlete coming through nearly cleaning them up, but that won't happen a second time, I'm sure. Bilodeau, Canadian, on her way.
Yeah, Bilodeau at just 20. She'll be back for more, I'm quite sure, in years to come. At World Champs and Winter Paralympic Games.
Just a little look over the left shoulder to see if any pursuers are nearby. Dos Santos Rocha. They've been training in the severe heat of Brazil. So they got such a tan in the sun. They thought about turning up in t-shirts and flip-flops, show everyone their great tan. Obviously, that was just an errant thought, not one they were going to carry through on.
Bilodeau with Lisette just chasing in behind.
She was right to look over her shoulder. This is a good finish coming up between those two, at least on the track, if not on the clock.
So Bilodeau pushing hard now for the finish. Canada with the bronze in the men's race with Colin Cameron Not going to be a medal here, I'm afraid, for Bilodeau, but still a great effort to finish in 7th place in the women's sitting long distance event here.
And Lisette just displaces her courtesy of her factored time, and a little fist bump there with her rival.
Yeah, Lisette coming in 7th.
It's a good sporting spirit there. So one of the Chinese competitors saying that during a race, okay, your rival is your competitor, but when the race is done, you're all friends and you help each other. It's what she liked about the sport. Santos Rocha coming down.
Yeah, she's going to end up pushing Lisette and Bilodeau down a place apiece as well. It'll be the next best time after Birgit Skarstein by the looks of things here for Aline dos Santos Rocha.
Nice support too for all the competitors from the crowd here at Zhangjiakou as they bring in dos Santos Rocha.
Yeah, progression is the name of the game for the Brazilian Para-Nordic squad here at Beijing. And that's a more than respectable 7th place for Aline dos Santos Rocha. Well, more than respectable, that's an understatement for the performance of these Chinese para cross-country skiers and athletes at the opening 2 days of Beijing 2022. It's another 2 medals, a gold and a bronze for the host nation in the women's long distance amongst the sitting athletes for Yang and Li Panpan. Oksana Masters with another Winter Paralympic medal. She gets silver.
So out they'll come for our little recognition ceremony for the women's long distance sitting. It's extraordinary to think that there'd not been a medal in either cross country or biathlon at Paralympic Winter Games for China, and they're leading the medal count in these 2 classifications. This is a terrific day for the host nation under clear skies and with a gentle breeze, and the results just keep coming. They've done the preparation.
Yeah, 9 medals now in the para biathlon and the para cross country skiing for the host nation. It's Li Panpan with a bronze in the women's long distance sitting category.
It's from none to 9. The rocket has taken off. Oksana Masters, another medal to put in the cabinet.
Yeah, 12th career Paralympic medal and 5th. Well, she had 5 golds. It's another silver for her. And our champion in the women's long distance sitting category, it's Yang Hongxiong of China. 4th gold medal for the Chinese para-Nordic squad. And we're only on day 2 of competition here.
I expect she'll be asked later in press conferences and so on about that last lap. What did she have left? Did she have some doubts? The margin fluctuated quite a bit, but she found what was needed in the last 500 metres. And maybe the crowd played a small part in that too, getting her across the line. Half a minute is still quite a healthy margin. A lot of events still to come at Zhangjiakou, hosting both the cross-country and biathlon events at this fine facility, which will truly be a legacy. And the headquarters for Chinese Olympic and Paralympic winter sports, at least the Nordic side of things. Well, thinking back to the Olympic Games where Norway was dominant in cross-country and biathlon, and it anchored them to a position on the medal table above everyone else. Now, that would be unfamiliar territory for China, but it's not out of the question.
Yeah, China have absolutely blitzed it so far at these games. 2 golds on day 1 of the para biathlon, and then to conclude the opening day in para cross-country skiing, 2 golds, a silver and a bronze. Absolutely fantastic from the host nation.
So we're looking forward to more racing at Zhangjiakou, a big cross-country program and biathlon events as well. Paralympic Winter Games, Beijing 2022. Hope to have your company again soon, but from Zhangjiakou, it's goodbye for now.